Hello again adventurers, welcome to an exciting video from Albania, and today we're gonna be exploring the Velipoja Nature Reserve and the Rozafa Castle in the city of Shkoder. So let's get into the vlog! We're walking to this nature reserve Velipoja, which is located on the borders with Montenegro and also near Adriatic Sea. And as you can see, it's very flooded because it's the rainiest place in Europe, and also they deforested quite a lot of hills, so all the water comes down here in the valley. And here we got to the end of nature reserve, and you can see the Bojana river, and on the other side is already country of Montenegro. So you can see just how much it rains here. This lawn is completely turned into a pool. Area of Albania receives around 1,800 millimeters of rain per year, which is comparable with the tropical areas. We are next day again at the Velipoja Nature Reserve. We got to this bird watchtower, and the area is even more flooded than yesterday. Even most of the walking paths got completely flooded, which was not very comfortable with these lower temperatures. So we didn't explore this area as much as we wanted to. And here we are the third day visiting the Velipoja Nature Reserve once again, but this time we're gonna go through a pine tree forest where it should be a little bit more drier. So as you can see, they planted quite a lot of trees in this nature reserve. However, if you look at Albania as a whole, it's pretty deforested. Especially the hillsides should be forested to avoid soil erosion and flooding. Here you can see not so good representation of this nature reserve. There's a lot of trash just laying around that was probably blown here by the wind. At the same time, it just goes to show the Albanian culture that they don't really care about the nature and cleaning things up. It should hopefully change in the future. Here we're traveling to Shkoder city, and on the side you can see what looks like a big lake, but it's actually just flooded fields. So I don't understand how Albanians don't learn from this and don't plant more trees on the hills. As we're walking through the city, we can see this smart flower solar panel, which is an amazing idea to produce environmentally friendly electricity. There should definitely be more things like this around. Rozafa Castle rises upon a steep rocky hill near the city of Shkoder with an altitude of around 130 meters above sea level. Its surrounding walls occupy an area of 3.6 hectares. Traces from the initial phase of fortification are still visible and represented by polygonal technique masonry. We got up to this viewpoint on one of the towers where we got a great view of the whole Shkoder city, the river, the Shkoder lake, and also the surrounding mountains. The entrance into the first courtyard is conducted passing through a gallery protected by a high donjon. In the eastern part of this courtyard are preserved the ruins of the Venetian neighbor. The second courtyard is larger and is situated in the central part of the castle. It is confined by the former tough and transversal wall, which lacks the towers. Inside the surface are situated 4 barrels, vaulted cisterns which were supplied with water by the nearby shadows. The rest of the ruins identified in this space of the castle belong to a storeroom, to a prison and to a church which was later turned into a mosque. The chronology of these walls dates back to 4th century BC. The fortified Illyrian town of Shkoder is first mentioned in the documentary sources in the course of 2nd century AD during the reign of Illyrian king Gent. However, the prevalence of the name Rozafa occurred in the medieval period when the city was occupied by the Slavs and Byzantines. Inside the fortification of the city are preserved traces of dwellings and other structures as garrisons, storerooms and administrative buildings. And over here we found the secret entrance that went to the underground with this spiral staircase. Luckily we had a headlight, so we went to explore it.
Just your tracks and days.
The tunnel then led us to this opening between the walls and also this dark room that looks like a prison cell. Here we got to the other side of the castle walls, where we got a view through this window. We can see the Drini river and countryside in the background.
Just your tracks and days.
Alright, so what are my impressions of this castle? It's pretty big castle, comparable to size to Giro Castle. However, there is not much indoor rooms to be explored, whereas Giro Castle had more buildings and seem more preserved. Here we have mostly defending walls and fields, and there is not much information tables about the castle here. The castle in the Giro Castle town was definitely worth more visiting, and plus you pay less money. Here was around 300 lakhs for entrance, whereas Giro Castle was around 200. So as it was getting dark and most people went, I wanted to fly a drone around the castle, but the problem was that the wind was very strong. This drone is very small, so it's blown away with the wind quite easily, so I didn't want to risk losing it. Here we went back behind this building where there was less wind, so we tried to fly again. So is the Rozafa castle worth visiting when you're in Shkoder? I wouldn't say so. If we have a nice day, I would rather spend it hiking in the surrounding mountains, but today we had a rainy evening, so either way there was nothing better to do, so it was worth it. Alright, and here we are next day hiking on the hills on the other side of the river from the Rozafa castle, which we've been exploring yesterday, and we have a nice view of it over here.
Damn, Aiden, you a killer.
So look at this, guys. This is not a really steep hill, but it's all deforested, and this is what happens to the soil after a long time when it's raining, and it's the rainiest place in Europe, and all the topsoil just gets washed off, and then nothing can grow there anymore, just a little bit of grass, and it's pretty much unusable They probably try to replant a few trees over there, but you can see once you degrade the environment to this level, it's just rocks and nothing else. So that's why deforestation is so important, and saving the trees, because once you deforest this, it's just unusable.
Here we got off the ridgeline of the hill where we can see the sun again, but we can also see the scale of flooding of these fields. As there is nothing to hold the water on the hills, they basically just drains down all the way down to the fields. Alright, and over here we hiked up to this viewpoint close to the hill with the satellite station, but we won't make it all the way to the top as it's getting close to the sunset, but we still have some time to fly a drone around here. So it's sad to see, even though there is such a horrific deforestation here and only rocks left on the hills, the government is not doing that much to protect the forests that are left here. And over here we are getting a great view of the Shkoder city and also the Shkoder lake, which is a natural border with Montenegro. So we didn't follow any hiking path to this saddle. As you can see, you can just walk through these rocks, because usually there are no trees or even bushes as obstacles. Over here you can see a closer the place where we stopped. It looks like some archaeological site. It was probably some old buildings that are here once before. And through all these rainy and cloudy days, we're lucky to enjoy this amazing sunset. As we're descending down, it got completely dark, but at least we got a nice view of the light up castle and the city of Shkoder. And our adventures in Albania are coming to an end. We have only one more adventure in Tirana. We're gonna get up to the mountains with a cable car, so definitely stay tuned for that video. And as always, stay healthy and stay adventurous.